Somewhere between the shadowed folds of ancient mountains and the slow sweep of moonlight over quiet seas, there lingers a tapestry of stories spun thousands of years ago, where immortal beings shaped the fate of earth and sky, weaving chaos and order through whispered myth and radiant legend. In this gentle darkness, as stars turn overhead, the echoes of old gods softly emerge, inviting us to wander, unhurried, along the timeless paths of Olympus, where every breath carries a story older than memory itself. Consider for a moment the hush that once settled over the valleys and olive groves of ancient Greece, when mortals believed the world to be alive with the presence of unseen powers. Beneath the ever-changing tapestry of day and night, 12 figures stood at the heart of these tales, immortal, distant, and yet ever watchful, shaping wind and water, love and war, fortune and fate. These were the gods and goddesses of Olympus, dwelling within veils of cloud and marble light atop the highest peak, never quite touching the earth, yet never truly apart from it. Their endless tales drift between realms, carried on the sigh of the wind and the song of running water, enfolding mortals and immortals alike in a boundless dance of hope and tragedy, joy and awe. As you settle into the softness of sleep, let us gently ascend that storied mountain, tracing each step with reverence, drawn by the quiet pull of curiosity through the wonders and mysteries of Greek mythology's greatest figures. Before we drift off, a quiet note: if these journeys help you sleep, subscribing is a gentle way to keep them coming. Now, settle in, let your eyes grow heavy, and let's begin. High above the world's restless plains, where silence drapes itself like a velvet river wrapped around stone and sky, the home of Olympus rises, wreathed in perpetual mist. In the earliest echoes of Greek myth, it was believed not merely as a mount of stone, but as a celestial domain, invisibly tethered to both earth and heaven, a threshold where the mortal and the divine seem to meet and merge. This was a place where time drifted more slowly, where the light might fall differently, tinged with a radiance reserved only for the eternal. Each summit and hollow, softened by drifting cloud and the music of distant wind, became a stage upon which the gods would shape the destiny of the world below. At the summit's heart, Zeus reigned, the mythic king of all heavens, his presence imagined as both storm and stillness. The Greeks envisioned him not with a single face or form, but as the living embodiment of the sky's endless moods, at times distant as thunder rumbling behind slow clouds, at moments nearer, like the hush just before rain. In myth, his hands gathered the lightning, his voice deep as rolling thunder. Yet his rule was less tyranny and more balance, upholding a delicate harmony among mortals and immortals, forever watchful, endlessly mysterious, shaping the tides of fate from above. Somewhere in that vast household of gods, the deep oceanic calm belonged to Poseidon, Zeus's brother and sovereign of all waters. The Greeks imagined him pacing the boundaries between land and sea, his power manifest in the subtle swell of tides, the whisper of currents, the sudden fury of storms at sea. His presence was not merely force, but depth and rhythm, the ceaseless movement of water in darkness and light. The world's coasts and rivers answered to his slow, unfathomable will, echoing his dominion in every ripple that brushed moonlit shores. And yet, beneath Earth's fertile surface, Hades ruled the silent darkness of the underworld, a realm invisible yet ever present in Greek thought. Unseen by sunlight, Surrounded by chill stone and rivers said to divide the living from the dead, his was not so much a kingdom of horror, but of inevitability and quiet, the final boundary holding all souls. The Greeks pictured this place as shadowy and profound, the eternal hush broken only by the gentle sighs of memory and the silent drift of time beneath the weight of myth's oldest stones. Beside these three brothers stood Hera, radiant and grave, the queen of Olympus, an embodiment of sacred order. Ancient stories described her as both fiercely protective and deeply dignified, wielding the subtle strength of the bonds between family, marriage, and tradition. Hera's influence rippled through every household, much as moonlight might brush lightly across still waters, promising both gentleness and silent resolve. In her presence, the gods themselves bowed to the power of ceremony and tradition, each ritual echoing her unwavering gravity. Somewhere near, in the quiet, logic and clarity took shape through Athena, goddess of wisdom, war, and craft. Hers was the intelligence of crisp morning air, clear and invigorating, her presence imagined as a tempered calm in the heat of conflict, the steady hand guiding invention and reasoning alike. Athenians especially revered her, crafting tales of her birth, springing fully formed from Zeus's brow, and crediting her with every ingenuity that stirred beneath sunlit marble and shadowed olive groves. In the golden hush just before dawn, Apollo emerged as light incarnate, the bringer of order and the healing sun. His story wove together prophecy, art, and music, threads of clarity spanning from Delphic oracles to the lilting melody of a lyre drifting over tranquil waters. Known to the Greeks as both healer and destroyer, Apollo was the ever-returning dawn after night's long hush, the logical connection between divine intention and human hope, filling the world with the warmth of radiant possibility. And in the languid air of afternoon, Artemis, Apollo's twin, prowled the shadowed wilds, sovereign of moonlight and protector of all living things. She was the breathless calm of untamed forests, the shimmer of silver through leaves at dusk, her mythic arrows falling as silent as starlight. To the Greeks, Artemis meant independence and purity, the boundary between predator and prey, freedom and stillness, her legend flowing like clear water through every hidden glade and whispering pine. Somewhere in the deep warmth of midday, Demeter stirred the bounty of the earth, her influence slow and cyclical as the passing of seasons. As the goddess of grain and growth, Demeter nurtured every field and grove, her presence rising from rich soil and gentle rain, sustaining mortals with the patient touch of renewal. Her story spoke of longing and reunion, of Persephone's return, and the gentle retreat of winter thawing into spring, each harvest a promise kept beneath the unhurried gaze of a timeless earth. The power of transformation burned in the heart of Hephaestus, the unseen forger master dwelling below the crags, coaxing beauty from fire and metal. His touch was warmth and textural brilliance, sparks scattering against the grain of stone, every tool and ornament emerging through slow, deliberate artistry. To the Greeks, Hephaestus represented the enduring complexity of creation itself, the alchemy of effort and inspiration, forever shaping the tangible world from the silence of molten darkness. Through the scented air, sheltered and winding, Aphrodite drifted with the velvet hush of a gentle breeze, her story woven from longing, beauty, and desire. Born, it was said, from sea foam, she was not simply lovely, but possessed an undeniable force, as inexorable as the tide and tender as the first curve of sunlight across still water. In myth, Aphrodite compelled gods and mortals alike to new beginnings and impossible choices, each heart's longing floating in the space between gentle touch and bittersweet surrender. Ares, by contrast, was fire and battle, a pulse of intensity within the otherwise unhurried quiet of Olympus. His myth moved with the ragged breath of war, the taste of iron, the looming shadow of conflict, and yet, like all gods, his energy emerged as an essential balance amid peace and prosperity. He was treated by the Greeks not merely as destruction, but as the paradox of courage and fear, energy and consequence. The spark that once kindled echoed through generations. Hermes, quick-footed and unpredictable, traced silver paths through shadow and light, his presence always a mingling of boundaries, messenger, trickster, guide of travelers and souls alike. His tales hint at the shimmer of movement through markets and midnight roads, the soft chiming of unseen wind. To the Greeks, his cleverness shaped commerce and communication, yet also the hidden laughter at the center of mystery, ensuring that even within the most solemn myth, a thread of unpredictability lingered. Some tales spoke quietly of Hestia, the gentle goddess of hearth and flame, whose warmth lingered wherever fire brought comfort and stability. Her myths are among the most serene, weaving together ideas of home, unity, and unbroken circles. In the hush of night, as embers gently pulsed, Hestia's spirit was present in every dwelling, the scent of baking bread, the flicker of a quiet flame, and the silent promise that in all things peace could prevail. Dionysus entered the mythic stage not as an intruder, but as a dazzling disruptor, a warmth spiraling through the wild branches of grapevines and the velvet hush of night festivals, when mortals tasted both joy and release. As god of wine and ecstasy, Dionysus offered a reminder that within the cycles of reason and order lay room for wildness, the unchained laughter of the world, the shiver of transformation in every secret corner and shimmering reflection. Entwined with each deity were countless lesser spirits and demigods, their presence flowing like mist through every glen and river. The Greeks sensed these subtle energies in the hush of forests, the quicksilver leap of streams, the shudder of leaves at dusk. Nymphs of wood and water, satyrs hidden at the forest's edge, each carried a breath of the divine, shaping the land with echoes of laughter and longing, memory and anticipation, threads that wove the mortal world ever closer to Olympus. Above all, the relationships among these Olympians moved with the same rhythm as the forces they commanded, tense and gentle, tumultuous and serene, always in motion. Stories of their alliances, rivalries, and moments of reconciliation flowed together much like rivers converging in slow, silent valleys, never fixed, forever adapting. These divine dramas reflected the Greek understanding that harmony is not perfection, but a living, breathing balance, influenced by every passing shadow and sigh of wind. And somewhere deep within these tales lies the story of Prometheus, not counted among the Olympians, yet eternally entangled with their fate. He was the bringer of fire, crafting hope for mortals from the secret warmth of the gods. His myth unfolded against a backdrop of star-bright nights and smoldering coals, symbolizing both the agony of punishment and the quiet persistence of renewal. a glowing ember in the palms of humankind, illuminating every threshold between darkness and dawn. So many tales swirl endlessly, their meanings shifting as softly as the shape of smoke in a cool night air. Myths told of divine feasts where laughter resounded, and banishments where even gods grew lonely. Ancient Greeks believed these stories to be more than just entertainment. Rather, they reflected the secret textures of longing, pride, jealousy, and forgiveness found in every human heart, mirroring the divine with gentle, persistent insistence. Somewhere along the golden boundary of earth and sky, mortals sometimes glimpsed these distant powers, their presence etched in omens, dreams, and the unpredictable flights of birds. Belief itself became an act of wonder, a quiet reverence for the mysteries that lingered just beyond sight, shaping every moment of harvest and heartbreak, every festival and solitary vigil, with the soft gravity of myth's ancient wisdom. Olympus, in the end, stood not on any map, but within the hush that settles when moonlight meets silence. Stories held the power to create and dissolve boundaries, offering mortals a means to understand both the comforting cycles of the natural world and the exhilarating unpredictability that music and memory can stir. Every myth became a bridge from the everyday to the secret spaciousness of possibility, where gods and mortals met in the stillness of imagination. Consider for a moment the ancient rituals, offerings laid with unhurried hands, prayers whispered in the cool before dawn's first blush, incense twining steadily upward in the darkness. In every gesture, there was gratitude and mystery, a longing for connection, and the slow realization that the gods themselves depended on the devotion and awe of those below. Through these rituals, mortals carved out a space for the sacred within the rhythms of daily life. Somewhere on the threshold of myth, prophecy shimmered, quietly woven through oracle stones and the hush of temple shadows. Delphi, the most famous, gathered supplicants from distant coasts, all seeking a glimpse through the latticework of fate spun by Apollo himself. The Greeks believed fate to be both distant and personal, flowing like water through unseen channels, at times clear and direct, at others veiled by enigmatic silence. The tapestry of Olympus, scientists now believe, emerged from centuries of shared story and ritual, shaped by the thin line between fear and reverence for nature's power. Myths grew roots in the patterns of weather, the rise and fall of the seasons, and the mysteries veiled in night's quiet. Through their gods, ancient people gave voice and shape to what otherwise might have remained forever shapeless. The thunder's promise, the river's flow, the awe felt beneath a canopy of stars. Each god's symbol, a thunderbolt, a trident, a sheaf of grain, became a shorthand for powers glimpsed in the world. Science recognizes that images and rituals anchored memories, making the mythic seem ever near, as real as the hush of dusk or the vastness of the ocean seen from shore. These symbols persisted, lingering even as times and tides changed, quietly entwined with the great slow turning of history. Some myths, drifting gently through the ages, took on the soft glow of parable. Tales of hubris, heroism, and the bittersweet limits of longing revealed to mortals the boundaries of joy and loss, woven with lessons as subtle as last light slipping behind mountains. In these stories lingered a kind of ancient empathy, an understanding that, somewhere in the tension between desire and surrender, all beings, even the gods, found meaning. Meditations on fate and freedom ripple through the Olympian tales, with the Moirai, gentle, implacable spinners of destiny, offering the final word in every divine and mortal story. Scientists have traced these ideas through the deep channels of Greek culture, suggesting that they provided comfort and structure in a world whose future was, like the sea or sky, at once inviting and unfathomable. In the hush of the night, even the gods themselves paused before fate's unblinking gaze. Somewhere in that darkness, the myth of Persephone glows, her descent and return marking the turning of the year. Her story lays time itself with gentle ritual, the sorrow of departure, the quiet hope of reunion. Each autumn became an echo of her footsteps down into shadow, each spring a tender climb toward the sun. Persephone's myth, scientists believe, gave voice to the human need for rhythm, transformation, and the comfort that every ending might, in slow time, become a beginning. The Olympian tales, ever shifting, found new voices in poets and philosophers, in artists casting images from stone or melody. Stories invited listeners into a world where no truth was fixed, but rather wandered, evolving with each retelling. In that patient shifting, the old gods lingered, not merely as distant powers, but as companions to the curious mind, forever entwined with the search for meaning and wonder. With every telling, myth threaded itself into the ordinary, festival fires flickering in the night, lullabies sung beneath stars, stories murmured to drowsy children as dawn crept quietly in around them. Olympus became more than a mount. It became the silence between breaths, the hush at the center of a dream, the slow wonder at the heart of every question not needing an answer. So the legends endured. Scientists trace the legacy of Greek myth even now, echoes of gods and symbols evident in language, art, and the quiet architecture of belief. Somewhere beneath the surface of every culture's stories, the slow pulse of Olympus thunders still, a reminder that in the hush of night, myth and memory are never far apart. The gods linger not in distant heights, but in the gentle arc of imagination, inviting us all to pause, breathe, and wonder. Consider for a moment the infinite stillness of star fields, a serenity as old as myth, the silent watchfulness of night above Earth's softly dreaming world. The gods of Olympus, whether named or unnamed, leave their traces in every story told in warmth and wonder, in the soft turning of the world beneath a shroud of starlight. And in every heartbeat of darkness and breath of dawn, their endless tales flow onward. Beneath shifting clouds and the ever-present hush of night, the myths of the Olympians swelled far beyond the mountain's imagined heights, winding into the tangled roots of the earth itself, where the boundary between mortal and immortal seemed to shimmer and dissolve, each tale both grounded in place and forever escaping definition, caught as if in a gentle eddy of memory and wonder, persisting despite the slow erosion of centuries. In the endless hush between dusk and dawn, legends whispered of divine feasts, gatherings where nectar flowed in silent abundance and laughter traveled softly across warm stone terraces, every shadow hinting at secrets unspoken and bonds unbroken, a vision, perhaps, of longing, unity, and the glint of something changeless suspended in the cool air, woven through with aromas of honey and distant pine. Myth, for the Greeks, often arrived on the wings of transformation, the gods assuming new shapes, slipping unnoticed among those who called out to them, their presence veiled in the flicker of torchlight and the soft rustling of wind through olive leaves, suggesting that the boundaries of self and other, mortal and divine, might be as mutable and receptive as the sea itself under a moonless sky. Somewhere at the edge of listening, the distant echo of the Muses' hymns lingered, their songs not merely ornament, but the pulse of creation itself. Artists and storytellers drawing from those wellsprings in silent vigil, guided, perhaps, by threads of inspiration as fine as starlight, reminding us that story is itself a gentle crossing between silence and understanding. In the gentle expanse of Olympus, stories unfurled of gods bound together by kinship and rivalry, siblings shaped by the tangled threads of love, jealousy, ambition, and the ineffable desire to create order from chaos, their dramas casting silent ripples through the tapestry of mortal life below. The ancient Greeks, resting beneath velvet night skies, told of celestial messengers whose winged presence threaded the realms between gods and mortals, their whisperings, subtle and serene, casting dreams and divine warnings upon the hearts of those lost within the twilight hush. Consider, for a moment, the mysteries of prophecy that wound softly through mythic tales, echoes of oracles hidden within sacred groves and shrouded in drifting incense, futures glimpsed as if through a haze of starlight and secret longing. Somewhere in that darkness lie stories of transformation and metamorphosis, where gods or mortals slipped beyond their given forms, into stones, into trees, into swans, each change marking silent boundaries between the known and the unknowable, the still and the ever-shifting. Now, as the hush deepens and your breath slows, imagine Olympus not as a distant peak, but as a realm softly alive behind your eyelids, a place where stories drift like mist, and every dream becomes a thread in myth's endless weaving. In the silence before sleep, let the gentle power of these tales settle around you, a cloak woven from ancient hopes and the quiet comfort of wonder. Somewhere in that darkness, the gods remain not to command, but to remind us of the beauty in stillness, the endless possibility that nighttime brings, and the slow, ceaseless flow of story from ages long past into the threshold of dawn. If the gentle stories of Olympus guide your dreams deeper, consider subscribing to join us on many more quiet journeys through wonder and knowledge. Sleep softly and let the tales keep watch.